Hello, I'm Catherine Maguire. Welcome to the Soul Alchemist podcast. I have a little bit of a head cold today, so I apologize if I sound a bit gravelly or a bit sniffly. We are in that place that it's not quite summer, it's not quite autumn, it's hot one day or one moment and it's cooler the next. So it's, jacket on, jacket off, jacket on, jacket off. And somewhere in the process, I have picked up a little head cold. So excuse me if my voice is not quite its full self today. Well, hello and welcome. Hello and welcome. I have some very exciting news. We have reached two, not one, but two pretty amazing milestones for our little podcast, which is one, we had 1,000 downloads this week. As we say in Ireland, bula boss, round of applause, because that is really amazing. It's so amazing to see and feel the podcast stretching out across the world. It's gorgeous. It's really gorgeous and gorgeous to get lovely feedback back. And it really feels that the podcast has taken on an energy of its own, like it's its own living, breathing entity. And I show up and you show up and together we step into that space. It's like stepping into, for me, in my imagination, it's kind of like this gorgeous cottage with a fabulous garden and all these beautiful cosmos and sunflowers and like panthus and all these gorgeous flowers. It's really lush, really kind of almost not quite overgrown, but very abundant garden, trailing roses. And you arrive and there's some steps up onto the porch. And some days we sit on the porch and have our tea or our coffee and our chat. And some days we're inside in the kitchen beside the stove. So that's in my mind kind of what the podcast is. And, I'm there waiting for you and you step into that space. So thank you for joining me. And today is episode number 10, which is our other milestone, which also feels amazing, really amazing. So what a journey we're on. And thank you for taking the journey with me. It's really, it's great. It's so great. I'm loving it. I'm really loving it. I hope you're loving it too. And it's growing. And thank you for your patience as I find my groove, as I evolve, as the podcast evolves. And I really feel over these weeks, I'm finding my voice and what it is I want to share, what I want to say. And I'm really loving when you get in touch and tell me when something speaks to you or makes you a bit emotional or reminds you of a part of yourself. And just, it's such a gorgeous journey. I'm so grateful, especially to Ivana, who was one of the people who said to me, would you do a podcast? And to Anna Marie, who's been such a cheerleader along the way, and to all of you who've really supported me as I've brought this out to the world, because I really feel it's a community, it's a community and it's building all the time. And we're in it. We're here in the trenches together. We're here in the podcast together. We're here in the cottage in the garden together, taking this journey home to ourselves. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. A few of you have been in touch with me to ask about Source. I mentioned about teaching a new workshop last week in the podcast. I'm going to send out the details this weekend. So keep an eye on your inbox. They will be there. And if you don't get my mailing list, if you don't get my newsletter, I'll put a link below so you can get that. But that will be going out this weekend. So today, I wanted to talk about celebrating. Prompted, of course, by our 1,000 downloads on our 10 episodes. But this journey of growth. If you're listening to this podcast, you're on a journey of personal or spiritual growth. You're walking through life trying to reconnect to the essence of who you are and be the fullest version of that. So I think it's fair to say, and I think we can all recognize sometimes that feels like a lot of work. A lot of work. And it is, all that inner work where we go into ourselves, meet those places, meet those edges, meet those dark spots, meet those wounds, meet those parts of ourselves we've hidden away, meeting the gorgeous parts of ourselves we've tucked away to, for safekeeping. It is work. There's no denying it. But The reason we do it is because every time we do that, it releases some energy and we feel more ourselves. We feel more alive. We feel more joyous. Feel more expansive. We feel more true to who we are. Where there was obstacles before, now there's a path. Where things seem difficult or are constantly triggering, now there's spaciousness and new possibilities and new ways to do things. And that's why we do it. That's why we do it, to feel that full, gorgeous, radiant aliveness of who we are, connected to ourselves, connected to others, and connected to the world. And with that in mind, it's really important to celebrate because celebration allows us to anchor in and embody the growth. And we live in a funny old world where celebration has taken on a funny, what do I want to say? Like a funny energy in some ways, in that we have some celebrations. So for some people, those celebrations can be the big things like a marriage or Christmas or maybe a birthday, but like we tend to see them as milestones, and we celebrate them. But celebration can be much smaller and more subtle, but more grounding to us. So what do I mean by that? Which is, in our older calendars, and I can't speak for other parts of the world, but I know in our older Celtic calendar, we marked the high days and the holidays. So as the season changed, as the energy changed. So, for example, the Celtic calendar in my part of the world starts at Samhain. Samhain starts when we enter the darkness of, at the end of September into October. And the idea being that we mark that descent into the dark, the withdrawing in, ready to shed what doesn't serve us anymore, ready to let go of the previous season's growth and come into the dark and really sit with ourselves in the darkness. Let everything that's happened through that previous growth cycle take form. Let it infuse us. Let it inform us, and turn inwards. And in the dark, we face the darkness. We face the loneliness. We face the isolation. We face the places of ourselves maybe we hadn't wanted to go. But we do that and celebrate that, knowing that the dark will pass. And as the dark starts to pass and we move into, Imbolc, into spring, we celebrate the light and the return of the light. And the return of the light and the new seeds and the new possibilities and germination within ourselves. And then travel through the year, celebrating Beltane y May, the May Festival, that expansion, the courage to expand and grow into the festival of Lunasa, the end of, the harvest, where we celebrate all the abundance, all the bounty that started all the way back in the dark of Samhain. And then when we're ready, we go back into the dark again. And so the cycle begins. But as we move through that calendar, as we move through those cycles, as we move through those seasons, we celebrate every part. And there's something innate in us, deep in our psyche, that I truly believe yearns for that. Yearns for those moments of connection. Sometimes those moments of connection with community, and those moments of connection most definitely with ourselves, and those moments of connection with those seasons and cycles of nature. And that's why we celebrate. And a lot of our celebrations feel hollow. They feel false because they're, often come on about show, or we try to overcompensate, when the likes of Christmas, we buy all the gifts because we don't feel good enough, or whatever it is. But celebration in true its form is the marking of a moment. The marking of a moment where something has changed. The marking of a moment where something is not as it was before, a moment ago, a week ago, a month ago. And those moments of celebration when we're on a personal growth journey are so important because they allow our being, our nervous system to exhale and go, okay, I've been through the fire, or I've been through the darkness, or I've been through the high and, expansive days of growth. And now I can exhale and prepare for what's next, but honor what has happened. And it allows our psyche to go, I've changed. I have changed. I can release who I was and hang out here where I am now. And know that another growth cycle will come. But here in this moment, as I celebrate, I'm celebrating the journey thus far. It's so important. It's so important. And it's so important to celebrate those micro growth moments. Those micro growth moments where you know, something inside me has changed. It's subtle. I can't even put words on it, but I know something is different. I know something inside me has evolved. And whether that means you pause and you just take a moment to put your hand in your heart or your hand in your belly and go, oh, well done me. Well done me. You take yourself off for a coffee or something lovely, just pause. You go and get a new journal or go for a massage or just stop and pause and sit and allow yourself to feel the rays of the sun in your face. But a moment where you pause to acknowledge that transformation has occurred. And sometimes that transformation's hard because it's the falling away, it's the death phase, it's the releasing cycle. We tend not to love that. But if we can honor it and celebrate it, we know what we're actually doing is making space for new growth. And when that new growth is at its fullest, and that's those harvest days when you're, at your most expansive, most ebullient, most, abundant, where, it feels like, I am so rich in the aliveness of life. Celebrate that as well. Because then the descent into the death phase will follow. And you can fully enjoy that and make space for that if you harvest, all the beauty, all the joy, all the work that you've done. And sometimes you try to cling to the harvest, cling to those ebullient days. And sometimes we cling to the darkness. Oh, I'm in here in my hermit phase. I love it. I don't want to come out of the cave. I'm the bear herb hibernating. Know that they're all transient. There's space for all of it and for all the markers, all the transitions in between. So my offering to you today is this. What might it be that you need to celebrate? Maybe something small, maybe something big. And can you gift yourself the time for the celebration? Whether that is a moment with a gorgeous cup of coffee in your favorite mug, whether it's a moment standing in the sun or out in nature, just breathing in life and breathing in the gloriousness of the world. Whether it's a moment to tell yourself, well done, you did it, well done. Or it can be something grander and fancier. But how can you celebrate you today? And how can you celebrate you showing up for this journey of life and growth and transformation? Because the more that we celebrate ourselves, the more we ground into ourselves and the more we expand and the more our nervous system is soothed, the more our psyche can rest and relax and exhale, the more we gather the pieces of ourselves together and go, yeah, I'm pausing to acknowledge that this is who I am. Because we're often running for the next thing on the to-do list. Yeah, well, I've sorted out that thing with my mum, but now I have to sort out the relationship with my dad. Okay, I've launched this project, but now I have to do this other thing. Yeah, well, now I've healed my relationship with my daughter, but now I have to focus on my son. Pause, and celebrate. Celebrate who you are and celebrate how far you've come and enjoy it. Enjoy it. Because these are the moments. This is what we do the work for. And it's in the celebration that the integration takes place. So I am going off to celebrate 10 episodes and 1,000 downloads. I shall see you back here next week. Remember to check your inbox if you want to join me for Source as we return to Source together over 6 weeks. And I'm so grateful. I want to offer you my thanks and celebrate you for taking this journey with me over these weeks, for tuning in, for listening, for commenting, for liking, for sharing. I love that we are building a community of alchemists. And today I am celebrating that. All my love, all my love. Aho.